The great hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with whispers and laughs. Thousands of floating seats arranged in circular tiers held representatives from the most powerful species in the known universe. Some had tentacles, others had multiple heads, and many didn't even have solid forms. But today, they all shared one thing: amusement at the tiny human standing in the center of the hall. Admiral James stood straight and proud in his blue uniform. He kept his face calm even as the whispers grew louder. The golden badge of Earth's Space Force shined under the bright lights of the hall. Behind him, through the massive window that covered one entire wall, he could see Earth's small fleet of 50 ships floating in space. "You mean to tell us," spoke High Chancellor Reed of the Dominion, his scaled skin shifting colors from blue to red, "that humanity demands a seat on this council?" His voice boomed through the hall, and more laughter followed. "We do," Admiral James said simply. He looked up at the massive screens floating above, showing the faces of hundreds of council members. Some were trying to hide their smiles, others weren't even trying. The High Chancellor waved one of his 4 arms. "Let me remind you of some facts, human. The Dominion alone controls 5,000 worlds. Our fleet numbers in the tens of thousands. The Empire of Light has even more. Even the smallest member of this council rules at least 500 planets." He leaned forward in his floating chair. "And you come here, representing a species that barely controls their own solar system, with just 50 ships, demanding equal status." More laughter filled the hall. Admiral James noticed some council members were recording this moment on their devices, probably to share what they thought was a joke with others later. "Our achievements in the last 100 years prove we are ready," James said. "We've developed faster than light travel independently. We've established colonies on Mars and Venus. We've made peaceful contact with 15 different species." "Peaceful contact," a voice called out from the higher tiers. "You mean you were too weak to do anything else?" The hall erupted in laughter again. James felt his hand tighten into a fist, but kept his voice steady. "Humanity has shown we can contribute to the galaxy. We have technologies." "Technologies," the High Chancellor interrupted. "Let me show you real technology." He pressed something on his chair's arm. Outside the window, thousands of ships appeared from hyperspace. The Dominion's fleet stretched as far as the eye could see, their black and red ships blocking out the stars themselves. "This is power, human. This is what earns you a seat at this table." James looked at the fleet without flinching. He thought about the message he had received from Earth just before this meeting, about what Dr. Thomas and her team had achieved, about Project Echo. But he kept his face neutral, showing neither fear nor anger. "The Council has heard your request," the High Chancellor said, clearly enjoying himself. "We will now vote. Those in favor of granting humanity a seat, raise your marks." Not a single light appeared among the council members. Not one hand or tentacle or energy field was raised. Those against. The hall lit up like a festival, thousands of lights showing the unanimous rejection. "The council has spoken," the High Chancellor said with a smile that showed too many teeth. "Return to your system, human. Come back when you have something worth our time." Admiral James bowed slightly, military training keeping his movements precise even now. As he turned to leave, he heard the High Chancellor add, "And pray we don't decide your system would be better under more capable management." The threat was clear, but James allowed himself a small smile as he walked out. Let them laugh. Let them threaten. They didn't know what was coming. Soon, very soon, they would learn that humanity had more than just 50 ships. They would learn that sometimes the smallest fleet could become the biggest threat. And then, no one would be laughing anymore. On the red surface of Mars, hidden beneath massive dome structures, Earth's greatest secret was about to be tested. Dr. Anna worked in the main control room of Project Echo, surrounded by screens showing complex calculations and simulations. Through the reinforced windows, she could see their test ship floating in the enclosed testing area, its metal hull gleaming under the bright lights. "All systems are ready," her assistant Robert called out, his fingers moving quickly across 3 different control panels. Power levels are stable at 98%. The room buzzed with activity. 50 of Earth's best scientists and engineers monitored their stations, each responsible for a different part of the project. They all knew what was at stake. After the humiliation at the Galactic Council 2 days ago, their work had become even more important. "Begin test sequence," Dr. Anna ordered, her voice calm despite her racing heart. She watched as the test ship's engines powered up, creating a soft blue glow around its hull. "Release the raw materials." Above the test ship, large containers opened, releasing tons of space rock and mineral debris. The material floated in the zero-gravity chamber, surrounding the ship like a cloud of dust. Starting Echo Protocol in 3, 2, 1. The ship's hull began to shine brighter. Small points of light appeared all over its surface, reaching out like glowing fingers toward the floating debris. The room fell silent as everyone watched. They had tried this 30 times before. All had failed. "Energy conversion at 40%, Robert reported. "Debris is being broken down at the molecular level." Dr. Anna leaned forward, her eyes fixed on the main screen showing the ship's vital signs. This was further than they had ever gotten before. The ship continued to glow brighter, now almost too bright to look at directly. 60%, 70%. Molecular reconstruction beginning. The floating debris was being pulled toward the ship, but instead of colliding with it, the material began to take shape beside it. Like watching a reflection appear in water, a second ship started to form. 80%, 90%. Warning alarms started blaring. Red lights flashed across the control room. "Power fluctuation in the main core," someone shouted. Dr. Anna gripped her console tightly. Not again. Not when they were so close. "Reroute power from sections 3 and 4, she ordered. "Keep it stable." Robert's hands flew across his controls. The new ship was almost complete now, an exact copy of the first one, built from space debris and held together by their new technology. 98%, 99%, 100%. Copy complete. The bright light faded. Floating in the test chamber were 2 identical ships, both powered up, both fully functional. The room erupted in cheers. People hugged each other. Some were crying. After 3 years of work, they had finally done it. Dr. Anna allowed herself to smile as she pressed the communication button. "Admiral James, are you receiving this?" The Admiral's voice came through clearly, though he was currently on a ship heading back to Earth. "I'm watching it all, Doctor. Excellent work. How soon can we implement this across the fleet?" "The copying process takes about 8 minutes per ship," she replied. "With our current power systems, we can handle copying 10 ships at once. Give us 1 week to install the ecosystems across the fleet." "You have 3 days," the Admiral said firmly. "Our friends in the Council aren't waiting. The Dominion fleet has been moving closer to our borders since the meeting." Dr. Anna looked at her tired team, then back at the 2 ships floating in perfect formation. "We'll do it in 3 days, sir. They want to see our fleet. We'll show them more ships than they can count." "Good. And Doctor, make sure the copying process works multiple times. I want each ship to be able to create another copy when needed." "Already planned for that, sir. Every copy will have the same abilities as the original. 1 becomes 2, 2 become 4, and so on." They thought 50 ships was a joke. She watched as both ships in the chamber performed perfect synchronized maneuvers. "Soon they'll learn that humanity's greatest power isn't in our numbers, but in our ability to adapt and grow." The Admiral's voice carried a hint of satisfaction. "Let them laugh for now, Doctor. In 3 days, we'll show them exactly what humanity can do." The Dominion fleet appeared at the edge of the solar system exactly as Earth's scientists had predicted. 300 massive warships, their black and red hulls blocking out the distant stars, moved in perfect formation toward Earth. Each ship was at least 5 times larger than Earth's largest vessel. In the command center of Earth's main defense station, Admiral James watched their approach on the giant screen. Different colored dots showed both fleets' positions. The 300 red dots of the Dominion fleet formed an arrow shape, while Earth's 50 blue dots looked tiny in comparison. Message from the Dominion flagship. Sir, the communication officer reported. They're demanding our immediate surrender. Admiral James straightened his uniform and nodded. Put them on screen. The scaled face of High Commander Crix filled the main screen, his expression showing the same arrogance from the council meeting. Ah, Admiral James, I hope you understand your situation. My fleet outguns yours 6-1. Surrender now, and we might let your species keep one planet. That's a generous offer, James replied calmly. But I have a counter-proposal. He pressed a button on his chair, sending a message to all ship captains. Everyone, move into Formation Echo. Let's show them what 50 ships can do. Earth's fleet began moving, forming a wide circle facing the incoming Dominion forces. From his command station, James could hear the confused chatter of Dominion officers. What are they doing? One voice asked. Some kind of suicide formation. Another laughed. High Commander Crix smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. If you wish to die fighting, we will grant that wish. All ships prepare to fire. Let's end this quickly. The Dominion fleet moved closer, their weapons charging. The space between the fleets glowed with the energy of hundreds of charging weapon systems. On Earth's ships, Project Echo's systems hummed to life, drawing in the abundant space debris and solar particles around them. Sir, Robert's voice came through James's private channel from the Mars facility. All Echo systems are green. Dr. Anna says we're ready. James watched the Dominion fleet approach their optimal firing range, just a little closer. His hand hovered over the command button. A drop of sweat rolled down his forehead, but his voice remained steady. To all Earth ships, he broadcast. Initiate Echo Protocol. Now. 50 points of brilliant blue light erupted in space. The Dominion fleet halted their advance, confused by the sudden display. Each Earth ship began to glow brighter, streams of space matter flowing toward them like rivers of light. What trickery is this? Crix demanded, his scales changing color rapidly. What are you? His voice trailed off as a second Earth ship appeared beside each original. In less than 8 minutes, the human fleet had doubled in size. 100 ships now faced the Dominion force. Impossible. Crix roared. Open fire. Destroy them all. The Dominion fleet launched their first volley, but the human ships moved with incredible coordination. The original 50 ships and their copies performed mirror-perfect maneuvers, dodging most of the incoming fire. All ships, James commanded, his voice full of controlled power. Show them what we can do. Earth's fleet split into smaller groups, attacking from multiple angles. When a human ship took damage, it quickly absorbed nearby debris to repair itself. When one was destroyed, 2 more ships would create copies to replace it. On the main screen, Crix's face showed the first signs of fear. This cannot be. You were nothing. You had 50 obsolete ships. We had 50 ships, James corrected him. Now we have more, and soon we'll have even more than that. He looked at the tactical display, where the blue dots were now spreading out, surrounding the Dominion fleet. You should have taken us seriously at the council meeting. You should have offered friendship instead of mockery. Now, you'll be the first to learn why that was a mistake. As the battle began in earnest, James sent one final message to the Dominion commander. Let's see who's laughing now. The battle in space turned into chaos as the Dominion fleet faced something they had never seen before. Their perfectly organized formation broke apart as Earth's ships, now numbering 100, weaved between their massive vessels. Every time they destroyed a human ship, its nearby partner would absorb the wreckage and create 2 more. In the Mars control facility, Dr. Anna watched the battle through multiple screens, her hands moving quickly across the control panels. Echo Protocol performing beyond expectations, she reported to Admiral James. Each copy is maintaining full functionality. Power systems at 98% efficiency. Incredible, one of her assistants whispered, pointing at the main screen. Look at grid section 7. 3 human ships had been caught in a Dominion crossfire. 2 exploded, but the third immediately began absorbing the debris. Within minutes, 4 new ships appeared where 2 had been destroyed. The Dominion vessels, not programmed for this kind of combat, crashed into each other trying to target the new threats. Admiral, Dr. Anna called out, the Dominion ships are starting to target our debris fields. They're catching on to how ICO works. On the command station's main screen, High Commander Crix's face appeared again, his scales now a pale white color of fear. What kind of demon technology is this? You're breaking the laws of physics. No, Admiral James replied calmly. We're just using them better than you do. The battle continued to shift. Earth's fleet now numbered 150 ships, then 200. The Dominion's superior numbers meant nothing as their massive ships became easy targets for the smaller, more agile human vessels. Sir, Robert shouted from his station. They're trying to retreat. 3 of their largest ships are powering up their jump drives. Admiral James nodded. Dr. Anna, time to show them Echo Protocol's second surprise. Dr. Anna smiled and activated a new set of commands. 20 human ships suddenly broke off from the battle and surrounded a retreating Dominion vessel. Their echo systems activated simultaneously, but instead of creating copies, they began breaking down the enemy ship. No, stop. Crix screamed as he watched his ship being torn apart piece by piece, its materials feeding the ICO protocol. This is impossible. You can't. His transmission cut off as his flagship was converted into raw materials. Where one massive Dominion warship had been, 40 new human ships now floated in formation. Message to all Earth ships, James broadcast. Focus Echo Protocol on their capital ships. Let's turn their strength into ours. The space around Earth's orbit became a graveyard for the mighty Dominion fleet. Each destroyed human ship was replaced by 2 more. Each captured Dominion vessel became materials for dozens of new Earth ships. The more they fought, the stronger humanity became. In the Mars facility, Dr. Anna watched the count of human ships pass 400. Admiral, she reported, we're approaching maximum control capacity. Our current command systems can only handle 500 ships effectively. That won't be a problem, James replied, watching the battle maps. Look, the remaining Dominion ships had stopped firing. Their perfect formation was gone, replaced by a scattered group of damaged vessels, trying to flee in different directions. Of the original 300 ships, barely 50 remained. Attention Dominion forces, James broadcast on all channels. Your fleet is defeated. Your commander is gone. Surrender now, and we will show more mercy than you plan to show us. One by one, the mighty warships of the Dominion powered down their weapons. On the tactical display, their dots changed from red to gray as they surrendered. Dr. Anna looked at the final numbers. 420 human ships surrounded the remaining Dominion vessels. From 50 to this, she said quietly. They thought they were coming to destroy us. Instead, they made us stronger. Send word to Earth, James ordered. Operation Echo was a complete success, and send another message to the Galactic Council. He allowed himself a small smile. Tell them humanity is ready for that seat now. And this time, we won't take no for an answer. News of the battle spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. In military academies of 100 alien species, commanders and tacticians watched recordings of the fight with growing horror. The impossible had happened. A tiny human fleet had destroyed one of the most powerful battle groups in known space. Admiral Ray of the Empire of Light, known as the greatest military mind in the galaxy, sat in his private study reviewing the battle footage for the 10th time. His glowing form dimmed slightly as he watched a single human ship turn into 2, then 4, then 8. Computer, pause playback, he ordered. Analyze battle formation Delta 7. The holographic display zoomed in on a group of human ships. They moved in perfect pairs, each original and its copy working as one mind. When Dominion weapons hit one ship, its partner would immediately begin creating replacements, while other pairs provided cover fire. "It's not just the copying technology," Ray muttered to himself. "It's how they use it." In another part of the galaxy, the War Council of the Crystal Collective met in emergency session. Their crystalline forms sparkled with anxiety as they discussed the implications. "All our battle doctrines are useless," General Spark announced, his crystal body flashing red with frustration. "We train to fight fleets of known size. Our strategies depend on knowing our enemy's capabilities. But these humans, they turn our own strength against us." The recordings played again on their screens. They watched as the human fleet adapted its tactics mid-battle. When the Dominion tried to destroy space debris to prevent copying, the humans simply used the wreckage of destroyed ships instead. When the Dominion concentrated fire on single targets, the humans let those ships be destroyed, only to harvest the debris and create even more vessels. Back in Earth's solar system, Admiral James met with his captains inside the Mars facility. The room was packed. Where once 50 ship captains would meet, now over 400 stood in attendance, many of them copies of original officers who had proven themselves in battle. "Our victory has changed everything," James addressed them. "But it's also taught us important lessons about Echo Protocol's capabilities." Dr. Anna stepped forward, activating a holographic display. Each copy retains not just the ship's structure, but also the crew's knowledge and experience. This means our fleet doesn't just grow in numbers, it grows in skill. The display showed battle footage where copied ships performed even better than their originals, having learned from the moments before their creation. It was like having a fleet that could learn and adapt in seconds. "The Dominion made 3 critical mistakes," James continued. "First, they assumed our small fleet meant weakness. Second, they tried to overwhelm us with size and power. Third, they kept fighting even when they saw their tactics weren't working." In the back of the room, Captain Smith raised his hand. As one of the original 50 captains, his words carried weight. "Sir, what happens when they adapt? They'll develop new weapons, new strategies." James nodded. "They will. But that's where humanity's real strength lies. It's not just about copying ships, it's about adapting faster than our enemies. Each copy we create learns from the original. Each battle makes us stronger, smarter, better." Dr. Anna stepped forward again. "We've already started developing new applications for Eco Protocol. Imagine ships that can split into smaller, faster attack craft, or ships that can combine into larger battle stations. The possibilities are endless." The room buzzed with excitement as captains, both original and copied, discussed new tactics and strategies. They had started with 50 ships and standard naval doctrine. Now they had hundreds of vessels, and were writing an entirely new book on space warfare. "Remember," James said finally, "our goal isn't conquest. We wanted a seat at the council to help build a better galaxy. Now we have their attention. Let's show them we deserve it not just through power, but through wisdom." As the meeting ended, news arrived from across the galaxy. The Dominion had recalled all its fleets to defensive positions. The mighty Empire of Light had requested diplomatic talks. The galaxy's balance of power had shifted, and it would never be the same again. The great halls of the Galactic Council, which had echoed with laughter just days ago, now sat in complete silence. On the massive screens floating above, footage of the battle between Earth's fleet and the Dominion forces played on repeat. The council members watched with wide eyes as 50 human ships turned into hundreds, consuming one of the galaxy's mightiest fleets. "Impossible," whispered a gaseous being from the upper tiers, its cloud-like form swirling with anxiety. "Simply impossible." The High Chancellor, who had mocked humanity's small fleet days before, gripped his chair with all 4 hands. His scales had turned a sickly pale color. On the screen before him, the numbers told a terrifying story. Dominion ships destroyed, 250. Human fleet size at battle's end, 420. Time elapsed, less than 3 hours. "We have an urgent transmission from Earth," announced the Council's communication officer, her tentacles trembling slightly. They request an emergency session." "Put them through," the High Chancellor ordered, his voice lacking its usual confidence. The main screen lit up, showing Admiral James standing in what appeared to be a new command center. Through the windows behind him, Council members could see hundreds of Earth ships floating in perfect formation. "Greetings, Council members," James said calmly. "I believe we need to revisit our previous discussion about humanity's place in the galaxy." No one laughed this time. "You violated galactic law," shouted one council member, his crystalline form flashing red. "This copying technology, it's an abomination." "No laws were broken," James replied. "We simply found a new way to use existing physics, the same physics you all use for matter replication in your food synthesizers and construction units. We just think bigger." In the council chamber's observation deck, military advisors from various species huddled around displays, studying the battle footage. They watched as human ships absorbed debris and multiplied, their tactics evolving with each new copy. "Look here," one advisor pointed. "Each copy doesn't just duplicate the ship, it improves on it. They're learning during battle." The High Chancellor raised his hand for silence. "Admiral James, surely we can discuss this reasonably. The Dominion's actions were hasty, unauthorized. We can offer reparations." "Reparations?" James raised an eyebrow. 3 days ago, you laughed at us. 2 days ago, you threatened us. Yesterday, you tried to destroy us. Today, you offer reparations. On various planets across the galaxy, news of the battle spread rapidly. Common citizens watched in amazement as shaky footage showed human ships multiplying like cells dividing. On military bases, commanders frantically revised their tactical manuals. In shipyards, construction halted as engineers tried to understand this new technology. Back in the council chamber, James continued, "We came to you seeking friendship and cooperation. You responded with mockery and violence. Now we come again, not asking for a seat, but informing you that we will take our place among you." "Are you threatening this council?" the High Chancellor demanded, trying to sound firm despite his fear. "No," James smiled slightly. "I'm offering you something better than fear. I'm offering you hope." He pressed a button, and new images appeared on the council screens. They showed human ships helping rebuild damaged Dominion vessels. Other images displayed Earth scientists working with captured Dominion crew members, treating their injuries. "We could have destroyed every Dominion ship," James explained. "Instead, we showed mercy. We could keep our technology to ourselves, build an unstoppable fleet. Instead, we're willing to share it, under proper controls and agreements." The council chamber erupted in shocked whispers. Share such powerful technology. It was unheard of. "Consider this," James concluded. "You feared 50 ships that could become hundreds. What should you fear more? That power in the hands of people seeking friendship, or in the hands of those you forced to be enemies?" The High Chancellor looked around the chamber, seeing the same realization on every face. They had laughed at humanity's weakness, only to find themselves confronted by humanity's greatest strength, the ability to turn enemies into allies. "Perhaps," the High Chancellor said slowly, "it is time for an emergency vote." 1 month after the historic battle, the Galactic Council chambers looked very different. In place of the old circular arrangement, the seats now formed a star pattern, with no position higher than others. At one point of the star sat Admiral James, now Earth's official representative. Next to him, Dr. Anna attended as humanity's scientific advisor. "The implementation of shared echo protocol technology has begun," Dr. Anna reported to the assembled council. Holograms above showed various species working together in newly established joint research facilities. 20 species have already completed the basic safety training. The High Chancellor, now serving as an equal among equals, nodded his scaled head. The results have been remarkable. Old enemies are working together, sharing resources instead of fighting over them. Footage played on the main screens showing ships from different species practicing the Echo Protocol together. Instead of copying warships, they were creating construction vessels and research craft. The same technology that had terrified the galaxy was now building bridges between civilizations. Report from the Dominion border sectors. A crystal being announced, its form glowing with excitement. The joint human-Dominion fleet successfully evacuated 3 colonies from the path of a solar storm. The fleet's ability to quickly multiply rescue ships saved millions of lives. Admiral James smiled, remembering how different things had been just weeks ago. On a smaller screen, he watched Earth's original 50 ships conduct training exercises with their new allies. Those ships, once mocked as insignificant, had changed the galaxy's future. "We have a proposal," the gaseous representative from the Commerce Guild floated forward. "The Echo Protocol has proven that size and numbers aren't what make a civilization great. Perhaps it's time to remove all references to fleet size and territory from Council membership requirements." The chamber, which once would have erupted in angry protests at such a suggestion, now hummed with approval. Dr. Anna made notes on her tablet, already thinking of ways to help smaller civilizations develop responsibly. "There's more," James said, standing up. "Earth's scientists have made another breakthrough. Dr. Anna, would you like to share the news?" Dr. Anna stepped forward, activating a new hologram. It showed a barren planet suddenly transforming as thousands of tiny Echo-enabled devices multiplied across its surface, creating forests, oceans, and breathable atmosphere. "Project Genesis," she explained. "The same principles that let us copy ships can be used to restore dead worlds. Imagine turning lifeless planets into new homes for species that need them. No more wars over habitable worlds. We can create them together." The council chamber filled with amazed whispers. The High Chancellor's scales shifted to a bright color of joy. "A rare sight. From weapons of war to tools of life," he mused. "Humanity continues to surprise us." "We learned from our mistakes too," James added. "Power isn't about having the biggest fleet or the most advanced weapons. It's about what you choose to do with what you have." He gestured to a group of young aliens sitting in a new section of the chamber, students from various species, including humans, all studying together. "These young ones will grow up in a galaxy where cooperation is stronger than competition, where we copy ships to save lives, not take them." And to think, the crystalline representative chimed in, "It all started because we laughed at a fleet of 50 ships." The chamber filled with laughter again, but this time it was different. Not mockery or cruelty, but the shared joy of people who had learned a valuable lesson. The screens above showed hundreds of ships from dozens of species, all working together, all growing together. Dr. Anna checked her tablet one last time. Final report for today. The first joint species colony ship is ready for launch. Crew includes members from 25 civilizations, including humans. Destination: the unexplored regions beyond our galaxy. "Any predictions for what they'll find out there?" someone asked. Admiral James looked at the diverse group of beings around him, then at the great window showing the stars beyond. "Whatever they find," he said quietly, "they'll face it together. And that makes them stronger than any fleet, no matter its size." The council members nodded in agreement. The galaxy had learned that true power wasn't in numbers, but in unity. And it had taken humanity's smallest fleet to teach them the biggest lesson.